What's your favorite color? I'm Joseph, this is Input English. Today I have a fun topic. It's a topic that we all talk about all the time, and that is color. Color. I have the Rubik's Cube here on display, not because I want to talk about puzzles, but because it's very colorful. It has a lot of different colors. Our sense of sight allows us to perceive colors. We have lots of names for these colors: red, green, blue, yellow, and a variety of other names that we apply to shades that are different than those basic colors. We also have black and white, which arguably are not colors, but are talked about in the context of colors. Sometimes we are asked what our favorite color is. I always thought of that as kind of a silly question because I couldn't figure out how one could value one color above another. I suppose it could be based on preference, but I could not, for the life of me, identify a particular preference of one color over another. Now maybe that's just me, and perhaps normal people do have color preferences. I don't know the right answer here. I do like colors. They play well against each other, and they add a lot of richness in visual displays, but I don't want to overvalue colors. I don't want to get too excited and assign a specific preference to a particular color. If you compare today's video to previous videos, you could notice that I'm wearing a pink shirt. And that's actually part of the subject matter of this video because it gives us a story. I bought this shirt the other day in the outlet mall, the factory outlet store, and the price was greatly reduced. The quality was the same, so I was very happy with the purchase. This is the first pink shirt I have bought in many years. Why? I don't really know. It just is. But the story is a fun story. The story is about a friend of mine from years ago. He was quite a bit older than me, a more senior worker in this organization. He had a lot more experience. But when it comes to selecting clothing, one does not usually think in terms of seniority. There are a couple of details about this fellow that I mention because it's fun, but not in a sense of ridicule. I'm not making fun of anyone. We have our own characteristics, and to others, our behavior may seem a little peculiar. This friend of mine was of the opinion that real men, that is, masculine men, never wore pink. Now, where he got that idea, I don't know, and I never quizzed him about it. I never took him aside and asked him, "What are you talking about? Why do you have this opinion?" But he had, from time to time, explained to people that he didn't think that real masculine men wore pink. The point at which that becomes amusing is when I tell you that this fellow was colorblind. Colorblindness is a characteristic of people, and there are a lot of different kinds of colorblindness. But there is one that is very common: red-green colorblindness. This is an inherited characteristic. It's a genetic condition, and it is inherited through families by a sex-link mechanism. That is, the gene that determines our ability to perceive red versus green is encoded on the X chromosome. The gene for red-green color blindness is a recessive gene, and what that means for us is if we have one copy of a recessive gene, then the other copy that we have on our other matching chromosome will control that trait. When a trait is sex-linked on the X chromosome, there is no other X chromosome in males. As you probably recall, females are XX, but males are XY. So if a recessive gene is on the X chromosome, and that's inherited by a male, then the recessive gene, being sex-linked, will be expressed. The way this works with color blindness is simple. About 8% of males in the United States, in Western countries such as North America, express red-green color blindness. At the same time, females of that same population have that red-green color blindness about 0.5%. It's a much lower incidence in females because females have the other X chromosome, which usually takes over and is expressed when the recessive color blindness gene is present on one of their X chromosomes. In different parts of the world, that incidence of red-green color blindness varies. In Asia, it's about 5%, and in Africa, it's down to perhaps 4%. But it is still sex-linked, and the female incidence is very low. The reason I tell you all of this is my friend, who didn't think that real men should wear pink shirts, was colorblind. Now, I don't really know how this all came to pass, but what I observed and what I was told is that his wife at the time was aware that he was colorblind and was aware that he had strong opinions about men not wearing pink. She chose to buy him some shirts, and she bought him at least one and perhaps several pink shirts. But she didn't tell him that they were pink, and when he looked at them, he couldn't tell if they were pink or green. It never occurred to him that she would buy a pink shirt for him because she knew he didn't want to wear a pink shirt. So from time to time, this fellow would show up at work wearing a pink shirt. I don't know if anyone ever told him what was going on. I don't know if he ever caught on to this prank that his wife pulled on him. I do know that he looked rather good in his pink shirts, and to this day I have no idea whether he ever found out. As language learners, one of the things that we notice is that each language has multiple meanings for various expressions. So I've given you a little overview of this genetic condition of red-green color blindness and the short way of expressing that when talking about someone is, oh yes, he was colorblind. But there's another use of the expression colorblind. I could say, my father was colorblind. What I'm not talking about is red-green color blindness. I'm not talking about the ability to tell the difference between certain colors. No. I'm talking about an attitude that people can have that is described in terms of color blindness. What I'm talking about in this usage is racial equality. In the United States, there is an ongoing issue of racism. Each person has to form their opinion about how they're going to deal with racial differences. One of our societal challenges in the United States is racial equality and the way people are treated related to their skin color. If someone expresses in their behavior no evidence of racism, but instead they are inclusive of people irrespective of their physical appearance, you could say they are colorblind. It's another use of that term, but this one is metaphorical. And you know how we like our metaphors. Throughout history, all over the world, societies have used color to enrich the appearance of their surroundings. People dress in different colors. People decorate their surroundings in different colors, and they choose different colors to decorate objects that they have and use. When we look at a beautiful scene, for instance, a photograph or a painting, the colors contribute greatly to the beauty of that scene. Festivals and parties tend to be decorated in a very colorful way. This contributes to the atmosphere of these events. In speech, we could refer to someone who has a lot of interesting characteristics as being colorful. People can be colorful, and in this case, the term is metaphorical. They just have many aspects of their life that are very interesting and unusual. When one refers to someone as colorful, this does not indicate good or bad. It just means interesting and different. The Input English channel continues to grow, and it is growing faster than I actually expected. This channel is less than 1.5 years old, and it is nearing the 10,000 subscriber mark. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, you can help a lot by hitting that free subscribe button. I think it's right here. I invite comments below, and if you like videos like this, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.